Hello everyone, my name is Dominique Connerly and I will be introducing to you CSUSB's space assignment and reassignment process using the space allocation and change request form. Before we get started, I'll be using the word space often, and by this I mean indoor and outdoor areas on campus, including instructional spaces, instructional support spaces, and non-state spaces. Facilities Planning, Design, and Construction, or FPDC, is a team of planning analysts, design professionals, and construction project management specialists who represent the interests of CSUSB campus departments. FPDC guides and assists through all phases of new building projects or renovations. FPDC will also coordinate the architects, contractors, and consultants needed to complete various projects. Additionally, FPDC is responsible for maintaining the consistency of rooms reported in the CSU Chancellor's Office Space and Facilities Database, or SFDB. A Space and Facilities Planning Manager, a role within FPDC, maintains the space and facilities inventory on CSUSB's campus, while the university president is held accountable for the use of all facilities. Each spring, the campus is required to submit space and inventory utilization data to the Chancellor's Office, which is then maintained and compiled into the SFDB. The objective of the SFDB is to serve as a resource with information from multiple buildings into a single report by maintaining record of information on the type, number, and usage of space on all CSU campuses. The SFDB is used in the analysis of space needs, space utilization, and other space and facility-related issues and reports. Space is a central resource to the campus, and the assignment of it should be to satisfy and advance the mission of the university. No unit, department, or division owns the space that has been assigned to it, but all university personnel are charged with ensuring the best usage of space. To ensure this, there are opportunities for campus departments to request changes to optimize space usage. A typical space change request would include the assignment of a vacant space to a college or a division, the reassignment of space from a college or division to another, or a proposed change to the functional use of a space, for example, converting an office. The Space Planning Advisory Committee, or SPAC, is responsible for reviewing individual requests for the assignment or reassignment of existing space. SPAC is comprised of a director or the executive facility officer from FPDC, one person represented from each of the 5 division vice presidents, one appointee from the president's office, one appointee from the faculty senate, and one appointee from the Associated Students Incorporated. SPAC is responsible for working with the Space and Facilities Manager to ensure all space change requests are reasonable and in accordance with CSU guidelines and missions. The process for a space change can be quite tedious. It begins when a department expresses interest in renovating a space by completing the hard copy space allocation and change request form. After receiving approvals of the change from the department's senior management, the form is delivered to the FPDC Space and Facilities Planning Manager, who will review it with SPAC. If after SPAC reviews the requirements and assesses the space needs according to CSU planning guidelines and approves the request, it will be forwarded to the president for final review and approval. If the request does not meet the established guidelines, the committee will make adjustments and recommendations and send back to the department with revisions. If the department accepts the revisions, SPAC will submit to the president for final review and approval. Some of the common reasons why a request would not be approved include wanting to add more chairs than permissible in a space, or wanting to convert a space, yet the reclassification does not meet the square footage requirements. All of this information is available on the SFDB website. The proposed change for space request processes would be to make the application process online. The new process would begin with the department expressing interest in a space renovation by completing the space allocation and change request form online via the FPDC website. After entering the specific space location, data would be retrieved from the SFDB. This data provides the requester immediate access to what changes are permissible. This form can only be submitted with acceptable changes. If the space recommendations from the SFDB satisfy the needs of the department would proceed with gathering all necessary department approvals. The form would be received by the space manager, where he would share it with SPAC and approve or deny the request. If approved, the submission will get sent over to the president for final review and approval. The online process expedites the request as it eliminates potential delays in receiving recommendations if the request does not meet CSU standards. This chart is what the space manager and SPAC utilize when evaluating whether a space change is permissible. When a campus department is inquiring about a change, the SFDB would require the department to enter the following information, which would then populate information relating to allowable renovations for said space. Depending on the type of change requested, the department would have instant access to reclassification and even reassignments of space. This information would be made available on the Facilities Planning and Management website for departments to view and input into their online request. The benefits to electronic space requests are limitless. Firstly, there would be a reduction in paper usage, and CSUSB is gearing towards sustainability. Secondly, the ability for department approvers to sign electronically allows them the ability to sign from almost anywhere, thus speeding the approval process. Thirdly, the turnaround to know whether or not a space request has been approved would be much quicker. SPAC meets once a month, and depending on the time of submission, it could be weeks before the department receives a response. If SPAC returns the request with modifications, the department would need to wait an additional month to resubmit. Fourthly, SPAC meetings would be much more efficient, as now the committee would not have to spend time reviewing requests that would not be approved by the SFDB. They would only need to review space requests to ensure change supports the goals of the university at large. A major barrier to the conversion of the space change to an online process would be the costs associated with implementation. Complex systems would need to be incorporated to link CSUSB documents and processes with CSU Chancellor's Office databases. Also, CSUSB's ITS department is critical in the maintenance of the newly online project. There may be issues coordinating with ITS and FPDC on this new project. The use of information from the SFDB would allow for departments to know immediately whether the space change they are requesting is allowable. This could potentially eliminate the time delay if SPAC must send the request back to the department with recommendations. Also, feedback would be critical in the implementation of the new system. SFDB is a very complex resource, which may be difficult for some users to understand. Although SPAC may appreciate the changes, the requesters would perhaps need to be surveyed to gauge the effectiveness of the new program. Training courses may also need to be hosted to ensure a smooth transition. Thank you.